Hi, I'm Todd Henderson. Today we're going to be installing the Lazerlite tonneau cover on this 2012 Ford F-150 5.5 foot bed. The only tool we're going to use is a 7/16 socket or wrench. We're going to start with the passenger side front bracket. Now you'll notice some oval holes at the bottom of the bracket and some round holes on the top side of the bracket. You'll have lobe clamps. What you're going to do is turn that lobe clamp to where the hole in the lobe clamp is up towards the top, so it can rest. The lobes can rest inside the oval holes, and the top hole lines up with the hole in the lobe clamp. Take a bolt and thread it into that lobe clamp so that it can move back and forth a little bit. We're also going to take the next lobe clamp, do the same thing to the very front holes in the bracket. We're also going to do the same thing with the front lobe clamp, going all the way into the front holes, unless you have some type of a drop-in bed liner or some other kind of obstruction where you have to use the center holes. There again, we're going to thread that right into the clamp. Now we're going to take that clamp from the bottom, go up underneath the bed cap. We're going to go all the way against the bulkhead of the truck. Now if you have a drop-in bed liner, you'll need to mark that bed liner and notch that out so the clamp, or so the bracket can go all the way up against the bulkhead. Now if you have a bed rug or a bed tread, you want to peel that back and run the bracket all the way up against the bulkhead. That bracket has to fit flush against the bulkhead. Once you do that, the bolts on the lobe clamps will bottom out right at the bottom side of the plastic bed cap cover. Once we've done that, we hold it all into place and we can tighten these bolts down. When we get this tightened down, we're going to want to double check our hardware, make sure the top of the bracket is evenly spaced from the top of the bed cap. And also the top of the bracket above the bulkhead needs to be flat against the top of the bulkhead. That's how you know everything's nice and tight. Next, we're going to move to the rear bracket. Your main bracket is going to be just like this, where you have the oval holes on the bottom side of the bracket, and your ball stud is going to be towards the front of the bed of the truck. And we're going to do the same thing that we did on the front bracket. We're going to take that lobe clamp, run the lobes right into those oval holes, hold it in place, take your bolt, run it through, and thread it into the hole in the top of the lobe clamp. We'll go to the next lobe clamp, do the same thing. Next, we're going to install the strike plate loosely onto the same bracket. We're going to take our small carriage bolts and go through the back side. We'll take a nylock nut and put it onto that carriage bolt. Do that on both of those rectangular holes. The strike plate, you want to have the plate portion of it up to the top. Now we just want to tighten these down enough to where there's still play back and forth and up and down with that strike plate, so it doesn't lock up, but we want to have it in place to where it's not going to fall off. Next, we're going to take this clamp, slide it right up into the bed caps, and we're going to slide this all the way back to your rear pillar. We're going to hold the bed caps down, hold the bracket in place, and tighten the clamps down. Now we'll repeat those exact same steps on the driver's side. Now we're going to go ahead and take this flat black Lazerlite and set it into the clamps at the front. Now we're going to go ahead and adjust the latch bracket and the strike plate. We're going to lift the strike plate up, and we're going to push the latch all the way in, and we're going to slide the latch to where it's just about touching the latch bracket, and then lower the latch bracket to where it's just over top of the strike plate. Now we can go ahead and tighten down the latch bracket, and we can tighten down the strike plate. Next, we're going to install the struts. You always want to make sure the cylinder of the strut is on the high side. So we're going to go ahead and lift up the cover and snap it right onto the ball joint. Now we're just going to double check latches, make sure they're all lined up. And that concludes the installation of the Lazerlite tonneau cover on the Ford F-150.